Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vedanta tells us that we are all leading a notional life. We all have notions. And notions have no foundation. What are the notions? Notion about ourselves. Who am I? Notion about the world. What do you mean by the world? Notion about God. What do you mean by God? And notion about the spiritual practice. These are the four notions. We all carry the burden of these notions. So let us start from the world. When we say the world is too much, which world is too much? The five great elements, the earth, the water, the fire, the air, the space. Is that too much? No. Which world is too much? Therefore, we are told, first of all, find out exactly what do you mean by the word world. So, it is said in Gita, ऊर्ध्वमूलमदशाकम् अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययम् छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेद स वेदवित्. This world is with many do's and don'ts. Should not do this, should do this, should not do this, should do this. And our whole life is spent only on that. And if we follow those strict rules, then what happens? Then we are not a problem for ourselves, and we don't take anything as a problem if we follow the rules. Like here we have seen, here people follow the traffic rules. See? So if there is, when we keep some accident, so no shouting, no honking, no abusing, no beating. I felt so lost. I said, what kind of place this is? Accident is an opportunity to bash each other and involve the whole pedigree. See? Because when everybody follows the rules and regulations, life becomes very smooth, cool. First principle. Chandamsi yasya pranani. And urdhva moola madashakam ashwattham pravuravya. Our life is to be discovered with this wisdom. When it is said urdhva moolam, the world is such that the roots are above and the branches are below. As if the world has done a Shirshasana, upside down. Do we have any world like this? Can we see a tree with the roots above and branches below? Urdhva moola madashakam. And what is this world? Ashwattham is constantly changing. As it is today, tomorrow it won't be same. And it is incessantly going on and on and on. There is no change in that. So, the teacher says here, he who knows this, he has understood everything about the world. Now let us try to understand it. The trees and plants, they eat from below and grow upwards. The animals eat from the front and grow backwards. Human beings eat from above and grow downwards. So when it is said the world, where is the world? World is nothing but our own body onwards. Urdhva Moolam, the root is above, Adashakam, and branches are growing below, Ashwatham, constantly changing. And this change is inevitable. Nobody can stop this. You may go to beauty parlor for the makeup. You know the meaning of makeup? That which is done to cover the breakup is called as makeup. So, we go to the beauty parlor and try to patch up. So, above the neck, sweet 16. Below the neck, 78 knocked out, and the head is constantly shaking. So, Urdhva Moolam Adashakam Ashwatham Prahuravayam Chandamsi Yasya Paranani. As long as we are living as the body, we have to accept the following things. The body is born, the body will grow, the body will have diseases, the body will become old, and one day the body will die. Accept it gracefully and live happily. Our problem is, we want to live as a body, but we should not grow old. Our struggle is like what? I want to keep the eyes open, but I should not see. Okay? Let the eyes see. How does it matter? Yastam Veda Savedavid. He who knows this accepts this. As a body, if I accept myself, there will be nothing wrong. Wonderful. Then follow all the rules and regulations of the body. So what are the rules and regulations? Give proper food, take care of your health, and use the body for some purpose. See, like you all of you have got cars. The car is only a means. It doesn't matter what car you have got. Whether you have got a very expensive car or an ordinary car, the question is whether it takes you to the destination or not. Car is not purchased for the sake of the car, but there is some purpose behind it. In the same manner, when we take ourselves to be the body, then we must be clear about by this body what do, what we have to do. See? Like we have following things in our house. First, there is a house, and in that house there is a power supply, and there are means of communication, phone, Wi-Fi, fax, etc. Now look within. Body is our house. We live in this body, and there is a power, prana, life, force. And then we communicate with the world through the eyes, through the mind, through the intellect. So this is the story. What is the world? Don't look outside. The world begins from our own body onwards. See? Now, when we are living in the body as the body, then we will have to do something or the other. You cannot keep quiet. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati akarmakrut. Nobody can ever remain without doing something or the other. When I was coming from Jaipur to Varanasi, there was one gentleman sitting next to me. And when the flight took over, he started moving his legs very vigorously. So I asked him, I said, are you in a hurry to reach faster? Oh, I'm so sorry. Again. There's no reason. See, nobody can ever stay without doing something or the other. So if we have to do something or the other, why not we keep ourselves occupied? Friends, be attentive. We are all miserable, never because of shortage of time. We are all miserable because of excess of time. In old age, people are more miserable than the children. Children are busy. They have no time for anything else. Doesn't matter what they do. But old age like us, आज क्या करना है? There is nothing to look forward to. See, friends, it is for this purpose we have to recognize this principle. The world is a problem for us if we have nothing to look forward to. When we get up in the morning, we must have a tight agenda. No time to die. Your death comes. Sorry, I am busy. See, friends, in this manner, keep yourself चुस्त रहो, स्वस्थ रहो, व्यस्त रहो, मस्त रहो. Four principles. Now, he who has understood this principle, then the body will not be a problem for him. First principle. The body is for us to use, not only to maintain. Then we go further. When you start again thinking about this body as the world, then the teacher says, Narupamasya tathopalabhyate nanto na chadir narisam pradishta. Now if we take, now this is a notion we all have, that I am this body. If you just coolly think, is the body created by us? We may say, I am a self-made man. Have we created ourselves like an amoeba by binary fission? Out of one amoeba, two are born. No cloning. So our parents created this body, first principle. So we are not the creator of our body. Second thing, the body never listens to us. Who wants to fall ill? See? There are two types of people. Those who are very fat and the only project of their life is to lose weight. So when they look at the ice cream advertisement from a distance, they put on 5 kilo. They are worried. Why? And the other extremes are those who are Agarbatti brand. Even if they eat the whole live buffalo, they continue to be only Agarbatti. In short, the body is neither created by us nor the body listens to us. On what ground we say, I am the body? Think. It is only after we take that I am the body, this world is born. There was a person, he was told by some mischievous fellow that, hey, I heard that your son suffered a terrible accident in US. Immediately he got disturbed. Oh God, what happened? He started talking to himself. The wife said, keep cool. Call him and find out. Don't become miserable. Ladies and wives are cool, smart, and they have got balance of mind. Gents are only excited. So he called. After that, the son lifted the phone and scolded father. Dad, how many times I told you don't call wrong time? He is all right. Now tell me, who was miserable? Was the man miserable or the father miserable? Just think. So, first error, we take ourselves to be body. After we are accepting ourselves to be body, this is called technically as mithyatma, illusory self. So there are three selves. One is real self, what we call as Paramatma. Second is illusory self. Illusory self, we take ourselves to be body. Nobody ever told us you are body, but we take it. After we are identified with the body, then the second generation begins. And that is called as mother, father, brother, sister, husband, wife, in-laws, outlaws. And who are miserable? These guys are miserable. Where are they? Then how to sort out this problem? The teacher says, Asanga Shastrena Dridena Chitva. Come to discover this simple principle. Attachment is an illusion. There is nothing like attachment. We are deceiving ourselves that I am attached to something. Nobody is attached to nobody in this world. See? When an old man uh, died, so his old wife crying, without him I cannot live. Now who will take care of me? And crying, I can't live without him. So all the youngsters were thinking, thank God this will also go better. And all things are over. And 1 week goes, 2 weeks goes, 1 year goes, 2 years go, and grandchildren says, Dadima, you told the other day that you cannot live without Dada. What happened? Change the project or what? Remember the simple principle. We are not attached to anything. It's self-deception. And further, we don't have to do anything. This is the most beautiful part of Vedanta. We don't tell you do something. No. Only correct your focal length. See? Simply correct it. Now see how it is. If we are identified with our body really, and if we are really attached to it, we will never go to sleep. What is going to sleep? We are not attached to the body. When we are not attached to body, there is no world. So which world is miserable for us? There was a group of youngsters, they went for hiking in the forest mountains, and one of them was left behind. It became evening and he could not see anything. So he thought, let me fix my tent and pray to the Lord, because the wild animals may come and do something to me. So he fixed his tent, and inside, extremely tired, exhausted, hungry, and all alone. And in no time he slept and started snoring. And the tiger came, smelling the human being, to eat. And when he came near the tent, this boy was snoring away. Grrr, grrr. The tiger got frightened and ran away. That fellow was sleeping because he was not identified with the body. Think how simple it is. Therefore, the real spiritual practice begins with this simple principle. We are living through the body. We are not living as the body. See? But what is our life? We are living as the body, for the body, on everybody. That's all. Therefore, asanga shastrena, non-attachment, only come to realize this. Now see, go deeper and deeper in analyzing your experiences. What I am telling you is not from the books. Just your experiences I am helping you to analyze. The thumb rule is, the one who is illuminating is not influenced by the illumined. Like these lights are illuminating all of us. Whether we are 50 or we are 5,000 or there is nobody, it makes no difference to the light. Now come to subjectively. My eyes are illuminating your presence. Whether you are 50 or 5,000 or nobody, eyes have no problem. Come to recognize this. I see the yellow color, eyes don't become yellow. See the red color, eyes don't become red. See the green color, eyes don't become green. Because eyes are not attached to any color, any form. Attachment is an illusion. Come to realize this. Thereafter, play the game of life. You don't have to run away here and there. No, 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 I will not look here, I will not do there. No, no, nothing. Be in this world fully and recognize this principle. See, how simple life will become. But we are so much slaves that we are unable to recognize our own potentiality. Once one lady from USA called me. That time, India midnight, there it's a day. So she said, if you remember, we met in one international yoga conference, and I am writing a book on mind, and you promised me to help in telling about mind according to the Indian thought. I said, look here, it is night here. I don't talk at night. Call me when the day is here. Not your convenience, my convenience. So I put down the phone. Next day she called. He said, please tell me now. I said, please you tell me about your Western approach to the mind. Then they talk about only the psychology, psychiatry, psychotherapy and all kind of thing. I said, you people talk only unhealthy aspect of the mind. We talk about the infinite potentiality that we all have. Mind is not a burden. It's an asset. Like our body is not a burden, it is an asset, provided we are able to handle our body. But if we are slave to the body, then the body becomes a liability. See, my friends, in the same manner, our mind is a liability for us when we are unable to control our mind. How simple it is. So we have got infinite potentiality, and that potentiality is tied down because of the body identification. See, friends, next time you see the river here, I don't see the river flowing, it looks like stagnant. If you see any water flow steady, and in between if there is a post or a rock, there you observe what happens. You will see there where the water is flowing in one direction, if there is a pillar or tree, at that point the water flows in the opposite direction. Very little bit. It is called as ebbing of the water. Water is moving around itself and then goes. If this is clear, exactly the same way, all our thinking is with reference to the mind. And the mind is lost in the finite. It is not able to merge in the infinite. And then the mind becomes a liability. Therefore, asanga shastrena dridena chitva means come to recognize this. Sense organs are not attached to the sense objects. And it is for this purpose we are told to do Ekadashi, the 4 months. You are not supposed to eat the onion, garlic, non-vegetarian, drinking, etc. It is not for torturing us. It is only for us to know that we are not dying because of their absence. Come to discover your freedom. So when things are there, enjoy. When they are not there, don't suffer. That freedom is called Asanga Shastra. So when we take the sword to kill something, we don't move that sword like a peacock feather slowly. It won't help. It has to be firmly. We have to be very firm with this understanding. None of the worldly objects have any freedom to influence me. And for that, the rule is no means no. This is another simple rule. This is a very great Maha Mantra. We must have the ability to say no, and we must have the courage to accept no. Those who cannot say no, they will be crushed in this world. See? And those who are not able to accept the no from the world, they get lost only in depression. See, friends. And why this happens? Because we have never trained ourselves to listen to no in life. One example I'll tell you. There was one girl, the only daughter of her parents, very intelligent, very nice. She completed her, architecture, college teacher, 28 years of age. She was in love with one Punjabi boy from Delhi. They decided to get married. So he came to Bombay. The ring ceremony, the engagement was done. Everything was done. She was very happy. And then he went back to Delhi. From there, he writes her, "Thank you for introducing your girlfriend. Now we have decided to get married. So treat our engagement cancelled. And do come for our wedding." When this happened, this girl could not take it. And then her parents came to me. Swamiji, we don't know what happened to her. Suddenly she has become insane. She was a South Indian and the boy was Punjabi. So they came. I told him, parents, I said, you go away, send the girl only to me and don't be around me, go away. So the girl came, I said, hey, sit down. Then I asked her, hey, what is your name? What you have studied? A girl of 28 years. She started talking. My name is Kalpana, 28 years of age. What you have studied? I studied English, I studied maths. I said, what is your mother tongue? She was a South Indian, a Karnataka girl. What's your mother tongue? Punjabi. She didn't know one word of Punjabi. But that boy denied her and she went into tremendous depression. She could not take that no in life. Friends, we have to have both these abilities. The ability to deny. No means no. And also the ability that if we are denied, accept it gracefully. And for that, the simplest way is, before the world tells us no, have the courage to kick the world. See, friends, the whole life's quality will change. And this can happen only by wisdom. See? This Bitu was asking me, what is the third eye? I said, first of all, if I have to have, I will have the fifth eye. 2 eyes plus 2 glasses, 4. So next will be the fifth eye. See, the third eye is not that there is some hole over here. No, third eye is very simple. When we look at the sky, it looks blue. But it is not blue. So although we see it as blue, we don't accept it as blue. This wisdom is called as the third eye. Now apply the same principle. Although we feel that I am the body, yet I am not the body. Living with this wisdom is called as the third eye. Otherwise you will get lost only. Some kind of Kundalini is awakening and then something is happening and then light is coming, light is going. I never have done this nor I know about it. But when people ask questions, then I come to know. One lady asked this question. Swamiji, um, earlier I have seen once or twice nice light, but now the light is not coming. What is the reason? I said, you please change your bulb. It must have become fused. Remember one simple rule. Anything which comes and goes is only the flicker of mind. Whatever may be the experience, that which has never come and never gone is the truth. So, Asanga Shastrena, meaning come to discover this principle. So, sense organs are not attached to the sense objects. So, when the colors and forms are removed, there is no loss to the vision. Next step, when the sense organs are closed, there is no loss to the mind. When the mind is closed, there is no loss to the intellect. When the intellect is closed, there is no loss to the life. See, friends, nothing is lost. This journey is possible only through wisdom. It is not a physical journey. Otherwise we get lost only. Then you will be going by the astral body here and there. Then you go through the fire, you don't get burned. You go through the waters, you don't get wet and all that. These are all the imaginations of the mind. Don't get carried away by all that. See, friends. So, asanga shastrena dudena chitva. Therefore, what is the real spiritual practice? Here, the teacher tells us, there are 5 things. The 5 things are Nirmana Moha, Jitasanga Dosha, Adhyatma Nitya, Vinivritta Kama, Dvandvair Vimukta, Sukadukka Sajnaihi. These are the 5 things. Let us take one by one. Nirmana Moha. Mana means measurement. Liter. Liter is not an object. What liter? Oh, 1 liter milk. Okay. See? 2 miles. The 2 miles is not an object. 2 miles is the distance. See? 1 ton. 1 ton is not an object. What is 1 ton? Yeah, your weight. Okay. See? So, these are the measurements. Nirmana. Are we not measuring ourselves? When we write our in any form, first principle, DOB, date of birth. Then size, height and width. And then weight, 2 tons. So, time, space and object. By these 3 principles, we have limited ourselves. See? And this is how we are identified with the body. This is the first, most miserable sin we are committing to ourselves. When I take somebody's object, somebody's possession, without his or her knowledge, it is called as a theft, is it not? And when I take somebody's object or anything under force, with a gunpoint, it is called as a dacoity. We are all dacoits. The first person who have right on our body is our parents. It is their property. Like we have the houses constructed so that we can rent out. We don't create the tenant unless he is your son-in-law. You don't create. See, friends, how simple it is. Now, in that house that you have constructed for renting out as a source of income, now in that the tenant, what control and authority we have on the tenant. If you are staying in our house, you should be vegetarian. You should not smoke. You should not drink. No way. If this is clear, now go within. To our children, what we have given is only the condominium, the body. The one who is living in that body is not created by us. The children are born through us. They are not born to us. But parents get so much attached and so much miserable. See, friends. Therefore, when they are kids, up to the age of 6 or 7, love them, hug them, and discover fulfillment of your parenthood. When they are crossed 7 to 13, teach them discipline. And after 13 to 19, give them ambition, achievement, goal, success, dynamism, creativity. And after the age of 19, when you want to go out and your shoes are missing, because your son has put on your new shoes and gone. When that happens, then he is no more your child. He is now equal. Be friendly with them. But what happens in India, our Indians rather, when a child is born, it is not only a child that is born. The child is also born, and then the mother is born, and the father is born, and the dada is born, the dadi is born, nana, nani. So many are born out of one birth. And thereafter, the child grows. The parents never grow. See? And then the parent complained. This happened in Bangalore. A Punjabi family was staying with them. He was a retired brigadier. So when I went to his house, so I used to go and meet his mother, brigadier's mother. Now when he's retired brigadier, his age must be 65, like that. So I went and did namaskar to his mother, very old one, something like 90 or so. I said, Mama, please bless me. He said, blessing I'll do later. Please tell my son. He doesn't listen to me. Now that son is himself a grandfather. But this mother, she still wants that my son should listen to me. And therefore they become miserable. See, friends, asanga shastrena dridena chitva. Therefore, the real spiritual practice begins from this point. Anything that will help us in reducing the body identification, that is spiritual practice. Be attentive. No thought can erupt without reference to somebody. Now do this experiment right now. Become mother or father and see what thoughts come. Stop. Now become husband or wife and see what thoughts come. Stop. Now remain as nobody. And see, have thoughts come. So when we became mother or father, the thoughts were pertaining to the children. When we become husband or wife, thoughts are pertaining to the wife or the husband. And when we are nobody, no thoughts. So, instead of complaining about the mind, many people have this, Swamiji, whenever I sit for meditation, too many thoughts come, what should I do? Don't do meditation, relax. What is important? Meditation is important or peace of mind is important? Meditation is not the goal, it is the means. But many of us are lost. Do meditation. It is not upma. Cut the onion and then give a tadka. No. We have to live in meditation 24/7. Living in awareness is the spiritual life. Therefore, the first step, the spiritual practice is this nirmana moha. We have to give up the moha, the delusion that I am the body. Now, we go further. How this is to be achieved, and this for this purpose only, we are told. Like one husband came to me and said, Swamiji, I am very miserable because of my wife, what should I do? So I told him, I said, look here, you have tortured her in the last life. And she was doing the Karwa Chauth. And therefore she is not going to leave you for 7 lives. You have no choice. No, but then what should be done? I said, now behave properly with her, and for all your miseries, you are responsible, not she. And when you behave properly with her, in the next life, there is a chance that she won't be your wife. Okay, then I will definitely behave properly. Now see the net result. What is the net result? You stop blaming others and you start behaving properly. These two things put together is peace of mind. Observe this. All of us are expert in blaming others for all our problems. So, husband blames the wife for his miseries. Then what will be his spiritual practice? Try to improve the wife. It's called as impossible undertaking. You cannot do that. See, friends. Therefore, this is to be clearly, distinctly understood. That before this body was born, we were in some other body. Yes. When this body dies, we will suffer or enjoy in another body. Now be attentive. Therefore, the question is, who am I? Never was I born. It was the body that was born. Never did I die. It is the body that will die. I existed earlier. I exist now. I exist later. Therefore, who am I? The embodied and not the body. It is for this purpose the law of karma is told. It is for this purpose the sin and merit is told. It is for this purpose sending to hell and heaven is told. Come to discover you are neither born nor you ever die. If we are really walking the religious life or spiritual path, first thing that should happen, freedom from the fear of death. People never suffer because of death. They suffer because of the fear of death. In one school, I was addressing the students. The students, 10th or 11th standard. Now to them, what will I talk? I won't talk to them Brahman, God and realization. So for them, dynamism, activity, struggle and success, hard work, all that I spoke. Thereafter, questions only the student should ask. Anybody asking question will not be entertained. And yet one old teacher got up. Swamiji, I got a question. I said, I am sorry, I am not going to answer your question. I told very clearly, my audience is students, not the oldies. He got very angry, went away. After the function was over, I went to the principal's room and I said, please call that teacher. He got angry with me. I will extend profuse apologies to him. He came. I said, sir, I am sorry. I did not answer your question because it was a wrong question at the wrong time, in a wrong place. He was already boiling. You never allowed me to speak anything. How do you know what was my question? I said, sir, your question was, what happens after death? How do you know? That was my question. I said, from your face. You are not living. Then I told him, nothing has happened when you are alive. What can happen after you die? Tell me, what has happened by our living here? Nothing has happened. What happens after death? Then I said, okay, I'll tell you. You are a Hindu or a Muslim or what? I am Hindu. I said, yes. We'll burn you. He thought I am going to burn him alive. No, I don't mean. No. Okay, second option. If you die, there will be one day holiday for the school. But don't die on Sunday. One holiday gone. No. What happens to the soul which goes after death? It is here you have to be very clear. All the teachers, they tie you down with this. Be attentive. Then I told him, you please tell me what is your subject you are teaching, so I will talk to you in your language. He said, I am teaching physics. I said, wonderful. You have done my job very easy. Then I said, I will ask you a question. Whatever reply you give, that will be the reply to your question. What happens to the soul and where it goes after death? He said, okay. What is the question? And the question is, when the bulb becomes fused, where the light goes? You see the light in the bulb? When it has become fused, where the light goes? Nowhere. Think. The day you are able to digest this, we have taken a big leap on the spiritual path. The purpose of telling this soul is only this. Don't suffer in this body. You are embodied. So many bodies have come and gone. Is it not an experience? The childhood body. Everybody will come, lift us, hug us, kiss us, talk to us. Now, anybody comes, takes the old newspaper upside down and doesn't want to look at us. And we are surprised why people have changed. Now, where that small little body has gone? Have we ever complained to the police? The baby body has disappeared. Then the teenage body has come and gone. What happened to us? The middle-aged body has come and gone. What happens to us? So where I, the baby, I, the child, I, the teenager, I, the middle-aged has gone. Nothing has happened. Exactly the same way. When this old body disappears, nothing happens to us. That is spiritual life. If the hunger is in the stomach and the food is in the plate, by looking at the food, hunger will not satiate. Where the hunger is, there the food must reach. Exactly the same way. Where is the problem? Problem is in wrong understanding. Understanding is not in the knees. Understanding is in the mind. These wrong notions must be erased without creating new notions. This is the greatest gift of Vedanta. In all other philosophies, they replace one notion by other notion. Earlier, I was a drunkard. I used to drink every day. Now, I don't drink every day. I drink alternately. Better. Earlier, I used to wake up very late, 10 o'clock. Now, I wake up at 9 o'clock. Holy, holy, goody, goody. See, friends, that is not the truth. I is deleted without replacing with a new I. I is not a concept. It is a truth. I am a man, I am woman is a concept. Once it happened in US, in Pennsylvania University. So, after my talk was over, the professor of philosophy, he told me, Mr. Swami, you have presented the concepts very well. I said, extremely sorry to disagree with your statement, sir. I did not talk concepts. You are a professor is a concept. You are American is a concept. You are successful is a concept. You are is the reality. We are all leading only a conceptual life. Vedanta doesn't remove the wrong concept by installing another concept. No, we are is not a concept. Even if the Nobel laureate comes, even if the best doctor in the world comes and tells us, you are not, we don't require anybody's certification to experience our own being. See, friends, therefore, the principle that is told through this karma, hell, heaven, sin, merit, last life, this life, 84,000, what is it? Lakhs, 84 lakhs births. This is for what? Only to bring to our cognition that the embodied is other than the body. Unless you take this step, the next step cannot be taken. Then the next step comes, then who am I? As a body, I cannot have any doubt. Who am I? I am a man, I am woman, I am young, I am old, I am beautiful, I am awful. Where is the problem? This question, who am I, is valid only if, even theoretically, we accept that I am embodied someone other than the body. In one college, after my talk, one youngster got up and he asked this question. Excuse me, I want to know who am I? So I asked him, I said, should I tell you the truth or bluff? He said, for a change, tell the truth. So I told him, you are a fool of the highest order. Then he said, do you mean Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi was a fool? Because this is his method of inquiry. Who am I? I said, no, I didn't mean that. He didn't ask me this question. You have asked me this question. Be attentive. I told him, this question is not valid unless you accept yourself to be someone other than the body. As a body, where is the question? I am man, I am old, I am Indian, I am married, I have got problems. Where is the problem? This question is not valid at all. This question becomes valid only when we accept that the embodied is different from the body. It is for this purpose our scriptures separate us out. Like, my glasses are not looking at you. There are eyes behind the glasses. My eyes are not looking at you. There is a mind behind the eyes. The mind is not looking at you. There is intellect behind the mind. The intellect is not looking at you. I am looking at you. These are only instruments. So unless we take this bold step that we are only occupying this body, this is just a condominium. It is not me. Nirmana moha, then jita sanga dosha. Sanga dosha is the wrong association. What is wrong association? Those who threaten you is a wrong association. Those who frighten you, you will go to hell, is a wrong association. I was in US many years before. That time I was pretty young. And my friend dropped me to one mall. He has to go somewhere for some work. I said, anyway, you go, I'll move around, take nice walk in the parking lot, you come. So, when I was walking, one father or brother, whatever you call, came. He stopped the car near me. He said, excuse me, are you a Hindu? I said, yes. Any objection? He said, no. Then, do you believe in Jesus? I said, of course, I believe. Then you are a Christian? I said, of course, I am a Christian. But then you said you are a Hindu? I said, yes, I am a Hindu. How come Hindu and Christian? I said, latest technology, 2 in 1. When I said like this, he became so annoyed. He said, if you say like this, you will go to hell. Then I asked him, excuse me, where will you go? Of course, I am going to go to heaven. I said, then I will prefer hell. Those who frighten you going to hell and heaven, there is a wrong company. Those who give you liberation, posthumous, is a wrong company. You are never bound. You are never liberated. Discover this. It is now and here. It is not after death you will go to heaven. And what will you do in the heaven? Same tamaku, same chuna, ragulor khao. What else? See, friends, that is the wrong company. Those who declare you that you are a sinner, wrong company. Those who tie you down. Now you are my chela. If you go to some other Mahatma to listen, then you will go to hell. It is a Guru Droha. Wrong company. The Guru doesn't tie you down. He liberates you. And liberation from wrong notions. See, friends, this is the gift of Vedanta. Therefore, Vedanta is not a religion. It is a straight away opening the book clearly. See, so Nirmana Moha, Jita Sanga Dosha, then Adhyatma Nitya, third spiritual practice. Adhyatma Nitya is every day we must spend some time on the following things. Number 1, we must have a disciplined life. Without discipline, nothing is achieved in life, whether material or spiritual. Sleeping anytime, waking up anytime, eating anytime, eating anything, and no control over our life. No. Begin your day early in the morning. You know the importance of this. I was told by one Mahatma in Badrinath. He told me, He was following the path of Kundalini awakening, and very good friend of mine. He used to keep the picture of his Guru Maharaj, a great yogi, and we used to sit together. He says, Swamiji, you come and sit with me. When you are near me, my meditation becomes in a fraction of a second, perfect. Otherwise, I had to struggle. So I used to go and sit with him. And one day he told me, do you know why we are told to do our spiritual practice early in the morning? I said, I don't know. Because I don't get sleep, I get up early morning. That's all. No reason. He said, no, there is a reason. Then you tell me, he told. All the Siddha Mahatmas in this world, they move around the globe, and wherever any sincere seeker is following the spiritual practice, they go and help him. Meditation is not a military discipline. Bhaya te chat. No. Meditation is never repeated. Meditation is a unique experience. And it starts happening. Even if you take going to your work from your home by your car, every day you are traveling the same distance by the same car. You are the same, yet every driving is unique. Exactly the same way, meditation is never repeated. See? As a result, every day you discover a new approach to the reality. Every day new. Like if you go to McDonald's or any other big chains, the same stuff everywhere you go throughout the world. No novelty. You go to our Indian houses. Once I went to somebody's place very late, at about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and I said, Mama, I am hungry, I have not taken food. Okay, Swamiji, please sit, I'll make immediately and give you. And she prepared 2-3 dishes in no time and gave me. So her husband said, Swamiji, look here. When you came, she prepared 3 dishes. For me, only 1 dish. I said, should I tell you the truth? Yes. I said, it is the same dish, put in 3 places. Toppings are different. Dish is the same. In no time, you can make 3 out of 1. Something new. In the same manner, meditation is not the same thing. Sit this way and do pranayam and then suffer silently. No. Every day new approach. Now that new approach, I'll tell you right now. Every day we get something new. Now try this. Listen to silence. Now, when you work on this, listen to silence means what? Ears can hear only the sounds. Ears cannot hear the silence. But when you are listening to the silence, you know what happens? We go beyond the ears. What is behind the ears? The mind. Now this experience, can you explain what it is? Now add one more. Listen to silence and don't talk to yourself. Now let us find out exactly what is happening. Mind cannot survive without words, without names, without form. Mind cannot survive. When we are listening to the silence, we have dropped the ears, we have gone to the mind. Now the mind again will start troubling us. So we stop talking to ourselves. Now two-pronged attack on the mind. First, it is not going out through the ears to hear the sounds. Second, the mind is not allowed to talk itself. The net result is mind is dissolved in consciousness. You are not doing anything. I have not given you mantra. I have not given you diksha. I have not initiated you. You are the master of your being. You are your own guru. The real guru is in our heart. And that who is that guru? Every experience. If we cannot learn from our own experiences, even God cannot teach us. Bhagavan Krishna could not teach Duryodhan, Dushasan, Dhritarashtra. We may say out of reverence, Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Bhagavan Krishna is the Guru of the whole world, Jagat Guru. If he was a Jagat Guru, why these guys didn't listen to him? Our real Guru, don't seek him outside. Learn from every experience. Be very attentive. When we start learning from our own experiences, with every additional experience, we grow wise. And what is the symptom of being wise? Gatasuna gatasuncha nanu shochanti panditaha. Wise people are never miserable. And therefore, all spiritual practices, be happy. See, my friends, Adhyatma Nitya, we are working on the mind. And every experience happens only in the mind. Experience doesn't happen to the body. Experience happens only to the mind. Like, sometime, this how I learned this. There was something wrong with my big toe. So my friend told, I can do operation easily. I said, okay, do it. So he made me sit in the chair in his clinic and just gave local anesthesia to my big toe. And after about 10-15 minutes, then he said, now can you feel? I said, no, I don't feel what you are talking about. He said, okay, now you can see. And he took the scalpel and cut my toe. I could see he's cutting, the blood is coming out, and whatever he has to take out, he took it out. Then he stitched everything. I saw that. No pain. What is the reason? The toe was in meditation. Chemical meditation. That day I discovered this principle. All experiences happen in the mind. So what is real spiritual practice? Adhyatma Nitya, mind your mind. Take care of the mind. See. Nirmana Moha, Jitasanga Dosha, Adhyatma Nitya. Then Vinivritta Kama. If we have to look within, what we have achieved till date, we'll come to know we have done only one thing unsuccessfully. Try to fulfill the desires. Right from childhood onwards. I want this, I want this, I want this. This never ends. In childhood, we were worried of getting the marbles. In the old days, we want marble in our bathroom. That marble, bulb is strength. That will destroy your energy. I want this, there is no end to it. Balastavat krida saktaha. When we are children, playing. Tarunastavat taruni raktaha. When we are youngsters, running after the girls. And vruddhastavat chinta saktaha. When we are old, all the time worried. I don't know what is going to happen to this world. If you don't know, relax. Parame brahmani kopi na rakta. But we have never focused our attention on something higher in life. This is our story. Vinivritta kamaha. Desires are the biggest obstacle in our life. Upanishad says, God realization means living at zero desire level. Everything is perfect as it is. Are we not experiencing the same when we are in deep sleep? In deep sleep, we are nobody, we are nowhere, therefore no desires, therefore all happiness, therefore snoring. Snoring is the sign of happiness. A miserable person cannot snore. Think. Vinivritta kamaha. Then dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha sanjnaihi. This is another very basic principle. Nothing in this world exists singularly. Joy, sorrows, birth, death, health, disease, friend, enemy, gain, loss. They are always in pairs. But if we imagine, I should get only happiness, we are going the wrong way. If we imagine, I should get only the profits, it's the wrong way. If we imagine, I should always win only, never get defeated, it's the wrong way. This is how the world is. It is made up of these complementary opposites. If there is no death, life will have no value. If there is no disease, doctors will have no value. See friends, द्वंद्वर विमुक्ता सुख दुख संजयी. Yes, थोड़े गम है, थोड़ी खुशियाँ, ये जीवन है. Accept it gracefully and live happily. Gachanti amudhaha. Such a person attains freedom from foolishness. And wise people alone can recognize the truth. The otherwise people are only complaining and miserable. Now see, in all this thought process, you are not bound. You are not obliged to accept or reject. What we have done is only one thing, analyzing our own experiences. We are not forcing on you. Like the law of gravity is not forced on us by Newton. If you don't follow my law of gravity, you will not only fall down, but you will go below the water. No. The truth is revealed. It's for you to accept or reject. This is the beauty of Vedanta Shastra. You are not obliged, you are not under pressure. Re-evaluate your own life. Upanishad says, Parikshalokan karmajitan brahmanaha nirvedamayan. Stop, pause, look back and see, till date, what have we achieved in life? Have we discovered fulfillment? Or still there are many loose ends? Discover this. Then we'll come to know that we have hardly achieved anything in life. Because there is no fulfillment. Remaining things, we leave it for tomorrow. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.